So Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz have now officially confirmed that they will be fighting uh, on the 1st of June in a boxing fight, not MMA, in a boxing fight. It will be Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. This has been rumored it has been rumored for quite a while now, to be fair. It has. What are my overall thoughts on it? Both guys deserve to get paid or get out there first. Both guys deserve a big paycheck. I mean, it's one to, fully finish off their, careers completely now, isn't it? Masvidal retired from MMA. I'm assuming Nate Diaz probably won't fight in MMA again. I doubt he will. But yeah, it's a big cash grab, really, isn't it? This fight, like, they both deserve the money, but it's a big cash grab, and they're using boxing for it. Overall, I don't think it's a great fight for boxing. It's just two MMA guys coming over who, you know, we've seen Nate Diaz can't box. Nate Diaz cannot box. He lost to Jake bloody Paul. Look, it did. I mean, look, I get he hurt Jake Paul, but people can't say just because he hurt Jake Paul and was doing his thing, wasn't really getting to hurt himself. Like, can't say, oh yeah, he's an amazing boxer. He's not. He fought like an old man in there. Let's be real. He was not great. And like, especially when you're down at that Jake Paul level as well, and you lose to him, like, you're not a great boxer. You're not a very good boxer if you lose to Jake Paul. Solid MMA fight. So I really like Nate Diaz, but I'm just being honest here though. Jorge Masvidal, don't believe he's boxed before, and but to be fair, good striker in MMA. He is a good, solid striker in MMA. He is. And I do fancy Masvidal to actually end up winning this fight, to be fair. I do think, he's definitely got better striking than Nate Diaz, and that's what it will come down to. But he's not exactly a boxer, is he? He's just a good, solid striker at welterweight in MMA. He is. But yeah, I just feel like it's a cash grab. It's not great for boxing. Just two MMA guys coming over, really, for a paycheck. Like, yes, I know they've got unfinished business, of course, but it's like, do it in MMA. Like, if go to the PFL or something, or do it, or just try and get as much money out of the UFC as you can. But no, I mean, I do think it's going to be a war. 100%, it will be. But it's like, these guys aren't. They're not boxers. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't, I just feel like they should go back to MMA. Like, you're not boxers. Don't do boxing. Do MMA. You're MMA fighters. They're coming over to boxing for a cash grab. It's as simple as that, just for a big final payday. And, they're using boxing for it. And, there's many people who aren't happy about it, to be fair. As a boxing and MMA fan, I understand both sides to the story here of, MMA fans will, probably, only, like, MMA fans who don't like boxing will probably really like this. And I see why. It's two, big names in the UFC. Big names in the UFC, Masvidal and Nate Diaz, going at it in boxing, getting a big paycheck for themselves. But for boxing, it's like, how many people how many non-boxers are going to keep on coming over to this sport and, put on big money events when they're not actual boxers, like, and being in the main and, taking these main event spots. It's like, it's just not great. It's just not great. Like, we've already in boxing got this whole influencer boxing bollocks and all that. Like, this isn't as bad to that level, of course not. But, and then you've got the Jake Pauls in there as well, disrespecting the sport. But yeah, it's just like, would you say this is kind of disrespectful to boxing? Because it's like, they're coming over as non-boxers, putting on their own big show. That's the thing, though. I feel like there's going to be a load of mixed opinions around here, in my opinion. But let's be real. These two were way past it. These two were way past it in MMA. Nate Diaz went on and lost to Jake bloody Paul. So it's like, Nate Diaz's hype's kind of died down a bit. And, Masvidal, again, like, it's just like, he was basically washed in MMA towards the end of his career. God knows the last time he won a fight. Not going to lie. God knows. It was ages ago when Jorge Masvidal won his last fight. Honestly. But yeah, I think in a way it's a shame that this is happening in boxing because I do think, you know, for both guys, it would just make more sense to do it in MMA. Apart from money wise, I mean, you know, your business wise, it makes more sense in boxing because they get money. But you know, legacy and fight wise, it's better if you're doing it in your own sport in MMA. I think it'll still be another great rematch in MMA as well. I just don't think there's just too much need for them to come over to boxing apart from the money. It's just a massive cash grab which they're using boxing for because they weren't getting paid well enough in their organization in the UFC. And you know, it's MMA's wrongdoing, isn't it? It's the UFC's wrongdoing for not paying these guys what they deserve to be paid, so they're having to come over to boxing and do it. But you know, let's be real, I feel like the thing that MMA fighters should be doing, such as, you know, the Mike Perrys, for example, or the Eddie Alvarez, like the Eddie Alvarez's, the Luke Rockholds, all of them lot, you know, they gone over to BKFC. Bare knuckle fight with Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz. Who wouldn't want to see that? And I feel like, you know, that's something which would make more sense for these MMA guys to do, you know, like go to bare knuckle fighting and do that. I feel like that'd be a bloody war between these two guys as well. But boxing, it's just kind of a disrespect to the sport, if we're being honest. And, you know, boxing's taken so much shit as well recently as well. It really is. But yeah, at least it's two MMA fighters fighting each other, and at least it's not another MMA guy coming over to boxing trying to fight another boxer. Like, you know, that's something that we would not like to see. So, you know, I guess there are positives to take out of it in a way. But again, there are massive negatives to this fight going ahead as well, in my opinion. But yeah, let's see what happens in it. I'm back. I'm backing Masvidal to win. He probably will. But yeah, it'll be hard to get Diaz out of there though. But let's see. I do think Masvidal most likely wins the decision. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, King. I'll speak to you in a bit. Thanks for watching.